In this problem, we're given several questions designed to see if you know the difference between an input and an output. So what I've done over here is to write the general notation for function notation, which is f of some input equals some output. Some people also refer to this as f is being evaluated at this input to get this output. So you hear people say f of a number or f at some number. In this particular case, they gave us f of x as an equation. The first question is, when asked to evaluate f of 7, what are you given? Are you given the input or the output, and what are you asked to find? This is very simple to do if you always just take the question and line the question up with this general notation. If you write the notation f of 7, it's clear to me that the 7 is in the parentheses right here and lines up with the word input. So we're given the input, 7, and since we're supposed to find f of 7, it's equal to some number. Whatever f of 7 is, it would represent the output. So the number 7 itself is the input. The entire notation f of 7 would be the output. In fact, I could label this 7 as the input. If I had to label the output, I would say it's all of the notation f of 7 that represents the output. So I'm going to go over here and answer these questions. When asked to evaluate f of 7, you are given the input. It's the number 7. And we're supposed to evaluate f of 7, and f of 7 itself is the output. So what would you do to actually evaluate f of 7? Well, look at this. There was an x in the parentheses. Now there's a 7. So x is the input variable, and we're supposed to replace it with 7. So you should substitute 7 for each instance of the input variable, which in this case is x. By the way, to see this, you could have done exactly what I did before, except instead of writing down f of 7, you could have written down f of x. So what I like to do with my students when I give function notation is always have them write it down underneath this, and you can see that we're defining the input to be x. In this particular case it's x, but in general it's just some input variable. When asked to find x, when f of x equals 9, that's a completely different problem. If I write down f of x equals 9 over here, it's clear to me that the way things line up is that they're saying that the input is x and the output is 9. So since we're given the number for the output, we're given the output is 9, I'm going to answer the question that says find x when f of x equals 9. That question, you're given the output this time. You're given that the output is 9. And you're asked to find x. X, remember, is our input variable. It's in parentheses here. So we're asked to find the input. Looks like I already answered that one. What would you do then? To find x when f of x equals 9, what should you do? Well, given the information, since f of x is equal to 9, in mathematics, if things are equal, one can be substituted with the other. So what I'm going to do is substitute f of x with the number 9. Now I don't actually have to do it in this problem, I just have to say what I'm going to do. But just so that you know, if you actually had to do this one, it's a little bit more complicated than just plugging a number into the input variable. In this case, we're given that the output is 9. All of this notation can be substituted with the number 9 because they're equal. So I'm not going to do this in this particular problem because I'm not asked to. But what you'd have to do now is find x. So we would say you're solving an equation in this case instead of using the word evaluate. So I'm going to say we're supposed to substitute 9 for f of x.